Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to take a look at the major astrological energies of July 2023, where over this month we're going to have both Mars and Mercury enter Virgo. We're going to see Venus station retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo. We also have Chiron stationing retrograde at 19 degrees of Aries. And in fact, Chiron is at 19 degrees of Aries all month. Plus, we have the nodes of fate changing signs. We see the North Node move into Aries and the South Node move into Libra. That occurs mid-month in July. So we'll be talking about all of these energies and more to give you an overview of what the seventh month of 2023 holds for us. Now, July begins with the Capricorn full moon at 11 degrees. And I have a separate video for you on YouTube discussing the astrological energy signatures in this chart. But the Capricorn full moon is essentially a great time to check in on how this year is going for you, what you are focused on, where you are directing your energy. Capricorn also is connected to the frequency of our soul mission and our soul work and our soul purpose. So there could be some insights you receive during the Capricorn full moon around the best use of your energy next, where you need to course correct or make some changes. Also, what is not working, because that Capricorn energy is about being productive, moving things forward, obtaining a result. And if you're understanding where things are not coming together, they're not manifesting, you could have some insights into what you're ready to shift or change. Now, the first 10 days of July, we move through Sun and Cancer energies, and there isn't a lot changing gear just yet. So we move into July, and we could feel like we have some time to tune into where your energy is calling to you, what is inspiring you, even a sense of maybe just allowing for some downtime and a break, if that's what is best for your energy. The Sun in Cancer wants us to navigate our daily lives connected to what feels correct, what is supportive, what is nourishing, what is good for your energy. And this could mean that every day looks a little different. It could mean that some days you're moving full steam ahead, you're getting a lot done, where other days could feel a little bit quieter. So the Sun in Cancer energies allows us to be flexible with the flows of energy, with what is coming in, with what's speaking to you, and where you feel an inclination to put your own energy. And so this can show up as inconsistency, but this also feels like a deeper connection to whatever is best for your energy to self-regulate and to ensure that you're taking care of your own needs. There's always stuff to do in the world. There's always things we need to get done, we need to take care of. And that's very strongly highlighted during the Capricorn full moon. But there's also this balance energy of, okay, I'm going to let something just sit for a little bit. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to make it happen. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm just going to allow it to be. Now, on July 10th, we see Mars enter Virgo, the same time that Mercury enters Leo. Now, Mercury was moving fast in June and continues to move fast through July. So on July 10th, Mercury enters Leo, where it stays for about 2 weeks, and then will enter Virgo before the end of the month. So just so you're aware, that Mercury in Leo is about really trusting what is inspiring you, what is strong, what is solid. Mercury the Messenger is how we communicate, think, speak, share. And in Virgo, you could have some new creative ideas coming to life. In fact, this can be a very creative month. There's a lot about July that could show you more of what you want to create next, what you want to do next. And I don't simply mean creativity in terms of art or painting or writing or what we would call the creative arts. I mean that your energy is always creating. You create your day. You create your weekend plans. You create your thoughts. So there's something here about really tuning into the power of our creation abilities to understand where our energy wants to go next, especially as part of forward movement, especially if there's something that you have really felt a strong resonance with, wondering about looking for ways to use your creativity more intentionally. I feel like July is going to be a month that brings us into alignment with what is an intentional use of this part of your personal expression. And there could be things here that you find yourself moving into, almost like you're gliding, you're floating, there's an ease. And then there could be something that just clicks, where you're like, aha, that's what I want to do. That's the answer. That's the idea. That's the direction. So there's something about July that is opening us up to more of how we can use our energy in these higher frequencies. And perhaps only after the eclipse energies occurred, or only after certain things about this year showed you what matters, what is valuable, what's important. So we have fast-moving Mercury the Messenger, which, by the way, means that life's daily pace tends to pick up. Things happen faster, there's more going on, there's more in front of you, more that needs your reply or response. There can just feel like there's a lot more that's transpiring and being communicated when Mercury is moving faster. Now, on the same day that Mercury enters Leo is when Mars enters Virgo. And this is actually a strong placement for Mars because Virgo is an athlete. Virgo fine-tunes and improves and will even give itself certain metrics or things to look at to improve, even in the most minute ways. So Mars entering Virgo brings our attention to what we need to focus on, as well as what we need to cut out, where we need to be more discerning. This also directly connects to your body consciousness and what your body needs. Maybe where you need more nutrition, more exercise. Perhaps you're realizing that parts of your physical body are sinking or feel energetically low and depleted. So what could you do now that would support your physical health and your physical energy? Mars in Virgo also strives to improve and be better. And there could be things here that you're seeing in a new light. You're saying, okay, maybe this is too much. Maybe I've overdone it. How can I cut this back so that it's more efficient and that it works better? We tune into the details. And I'm actually seeing this at a physical level where Virgo rules the digestive system and the digestive tract. And there could be things that you tune into that give you messages about your internal systems. Like I'm actually seeing this as a strong communication between the body and the mind, which are both Virgo strengths. But I'm seeing this energy of the gut, which is our second brain, if you will, which is how we understand what's going on in our bodies and how our bodies are speaking to us outside of the mind. I see this very interesting direct correlation between the brain's gut and the third eye, and how you could just have some insights or knowingness about what your body needs, about your health, about your daily world, your daily responsibilities. I also think of Virgo as being able to take care of a lot of things that require catch-up, that require maintenance. So Mars in Virgo is your own personal maintenance system and also directing you to the body's messages. And again, I'm just seeing this direct connection between the gut and the third eye, where there could be some things that you just know. You're like, oh, that's what's been going on, or that's why I've been feeling this way. And it feels also like there's going to be proof or validation, especially with Virgo being an earth sign where we need to see it. Like, show me the facts, show me the details, show me the specifics of what's going on. So I feel like there's something about our physical body is going to be beautifully supported and even upgraded when we're willing to tune into the messages that Mars and Virgo is going to be delivering. And remember, this episode is just an overview of the energies. We'll be talking about this more regularly on my Wednesday podcast, which is where I do the weekly energies. So Mars enters Virgo, and then, as I mentioned a few moments ago, Mercury will also enter Virgo this month. That will happen on July 28th. And Mercury is also strong in Virgo. So we're going to have both Mars and Mercury traveling together in Virgo. And I feel like this is going to really give us a sense of what we need to take care of. I feel like there could be some very supportive refinement that occurs, almost like you see more of what is necessary, what is needed, what is important, and you're willing to let go of what isn't. And we're going to have a dance between both Mars and Mercury in Virgo and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So the Virgo and Pisces axis in your chart will be quite alive going into August especially. And this is where there could be some things that you're ready to say goodbye to. You're ready to clear out. You're ready to let go of. And you're also understanding what is supportive of your energy and what's not. You know, what really gives you life, what really gives you a sense of this is what is important to me. I'm going to put my energy more on this and cut out the rest. Now, the biggest energetic transitions this month occur with Chiron stationing retrograde at 19 degrees of Aries. That occurs on July 23rd, around the same time that Venus stations retrograde in Leo at 28 degrees. So July 22nd, July 23rd is when we have the two prominent retrograde energies of the month. They are both in fire signs, and they are both extended retrogrades. And this is something too that could be an invitation into more of your passion, more of your inspirational growth, more of who you are now. The retrogrades occurring at the same time, both Venus and Chiron retrograde, is a slowdown, and it brings a focused intention to what these energies are creating and generating in your life. So what I mean is that two parts of your life where you have Chiron stationing retrograde at 19 degrees Aries and Venus stationing retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo are going to be areas of stopping, of pausing, of looking at what is going on in this area of my life or in my energies, what is being created, what also has been perhaps driving me, because the fire signs are about action and movement and forward motion. And this is a stopping of those energies. It's slowing down. It's like turning off the spigot, closing things down so that you can tap deeply into it and understand, what is this bringing into my life? What is this creating? And with all retrogrades, there is a reflective journey. There is an internal journey that begins. And that is the strong energy here. Again, July 22nd, July 23rd, where there is an opportunity to tune into your life force, to call the energies back to you, as well as to slow down what that fire sign energy has been about. Chiron retrograde in Aries is an invitation into the parts of your energy that have felt vulnerable, sensitive. They require more support, more work, more assistance. And with this energy slowing down, it could bring up some of the wounds, insecurities, or doubts that you're ready to look at in a new way. Chiron in Aries is wanting us to be more independent, to have the courage to be ourselves, as well as understand that we're capable of trusting ourselves, trusting who we are, trusting what we want and where we want to go next in life. And this retrograde could bring you back into some deeper questions, some deeper things to sit with, perhaps to review and understand, but it takes time. There's an element of it can't be rushed, which is difficult for Aries because Aries wants things to move quickly, to move fast. Let's go, go, go. And Chiron in Aries slows that down, especially with the retrograde. Chiron retrograde in Aries can highlight where you don't feel strong, what you don't feel you're good at, where there could be a silent struggle going on. There could be something that you're dealing with and it's designed to heal you. It's designed to make you stronger. But there could be a sense of, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know what to do with this. This retrograde lasts until the end of December. And that is part of the Chiron journey, is that usually half the year Chiron is retrograde, where we review and go into those parts of ourselves where we need support and help. And this is something to just be aware of, because we've been through this Chiron retrograde every year since 2018. Every year in Aries, we've had the retrograde. And so this could be a slowdown that feels uncomfortable as well. Almost like you'd rather move ahead. I'd rather get past this. I'd rather bust through this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. But Chiron is inviting you back to the table, back into a softness, back into a self-realization that is important for you to see. Also, there's an element here of humility, of understanding that it's okay to not be the best at everything. And sometimes that Aries energy, it wants to be number one. It gets into that competitive spirit, but that's not healthy either. In fact, that isn't even good for the long term. And it's energies that we are outgrowing, because any kind of competition is based in 3D energetics, and that can also be about a fear of not being loved, of not being lovable, of not really being understood for who you are. So the Chiron retrograde in Aries that begins in July is a slowdown, and it could also be revealing to you where you don't want to ask for help, where you don't feel that you want to step outside of your energy, because that Aries energy can be very independent and self-contained. But Chiron is where we need assistance. So just be aware of that in your own world. If you need help, if you need others to come forward or to hold your hand or to be there for you in some capacity, that's something that could be shown as this Chiron stations retrograde on July 23rd. Now, as I mentioned, around the same time, Venus stations retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo. And this is going to be a Venus retrograde in Leo that is reprogramming what we desire, what we love. Also digging into where we feel powerful in our heart space, in our feminine energies, in our creative expression. Venus retrograde in Leo brings us back into what we truly want and desire, what feels strong and good within us, and also asks us to look at how we are tapping into our heart light, how we're tapping into what lights us up and inspires us to be who we are in the world without giving it away to others, without diminishing what we need or what we want. Now, Venus retrograde is where we review what is going on in the Venus areas of our lives, and then we would relate this to the Leo areas of our lives. Venus will station retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo and journey back to 12 degrees of Leo. So this territory in your chart is where you're going to be looking at if you've been in your power, if you've been in your self-love, if you've been in your confidence. And if so, then this Venus retrograde might feel like it's a nice respite, like it's just an easy time to check in and you're in alignment with what you want. You are very aware of what you're creating in your life, and you could feel like you're getting a little bit more time to slow down and just go with the flow. On the other hand, Venus retrograde can bring up things in your life that aren't working. It can bring up where you're struggling with finances or money or financial energies. It could bring up where you're not in alignment with a passion, with the sense of your true self. Venus in Leo can bring you back into what your solar plexus is desiring to create, as well as how to feel powerful in yourself, how to feel strong, how to really honor your own life force. Venus retrograde can bring up relationship issues, partnerships, friendships, sisters, any area that Venus rules. When she goes through retrograde, we're looking at those areas of our lives again. And with Leo being a personal sign, there's something that you could be realizing around relationships, friendships, partnerships. You could have realizations of where your energy sinks or is leaking out or feels depleted, where you're not strengthened, you're not in your power. You could have an understanding of relationships that don't feel equal, that don't feel like there's a sense of we are each showing up in our light, in our soul wisdom, in our strength. There could be something that you're noticing is no longer a match. And part of relationships, any relationships in our lives, I mean, think about people that you're close to, whether those are friends or family members or people that you work with, is that we move at a similar pace and we grow together or we grow in the same direction. And even if there's times when one person's slower or one person is faster, and whatever that means, right? There's things here where you could feel like you have an understanding of who you've outgrown, or what you've outgrown, or what no longer lights you up or is interesting. And Venus also is about recalibrating our own energy frequencies of self-love. And there could be something here that you're like, this isn't loving. This isn't an energy I want in my life. Venus and Leo want stability and consistency, what is known, what can be counted on. And maybe you're understanding that there are people that you're no longer meant to travel with. This is where relationships can break up. This is where relationships are over. This is also where relationships can be stronger. Things can improve when each individual takes responsibility, understands how they've shown up, understands what they're learning. And sometimes that Venus in Leo has too much pride and isn't able to be humble, isn't able to reflect. And this Venus retrograde in Leo could be asking that of you or of someone, where it's like, okay, put down the armor, put down the shield, put down the pride. Let's take a look here at what is going on with your energy. How is it manifesting? How is it coming across? How is it either creating or not creating healthy, satisfying connections with people? So we will all be doing this. We will all be going through this review that is meant to take us outside of the ego, if you will, outside of the personal willpower that Leo commands. This is rather being able to be strong enough to look at yourself, to assess your needs, to assess what is best for you at this time with the people you draw in and how you connect. And then also being honest about what's not working and what doesn't connect. And so this Venus retrograde actually has a very nice connection with the nodes of fate changing signs that occurs during the middle of July. And as I mentioned at the very start of the podcast, the nodes of fate will move from the North Node in Taurus to the North Node in Aries, and from the South Node in Scorpio to the South Node in Libra. And when this occurs, it happens as Venus is stationing retrograde there in Leo at 28 degrees of Leo and makes a trine to the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. There could be new relationship potentials that are emerging, things that you are really integrating and understanding. I feel this as even a new way of showing up in relationships. Maybe you've done things a certain way. You've been in various connections or friendships that have maybe just not felt like they've really resonated with who you are. But now you're getting insights into what is truer for you. This is the hallmark signature of owning what you bring to the table and owning your journey, owning your own healing through relationships as well, such as taking stock and objectively assessing what has played out for you, whether it's been wonderful, fulfilling, heartwarming, or not. And as this Venus stations retrograde and trines the North Node moving into Aries, there is some new beacon to follow. There's some new understanding about yourself, about how you do connections, that you're willing to see in a new light, in a new way. I feel responsibility around this. I feel like there's something about, oh, this is what I've been learning. This is what I've been healing. This is what I've been understanding. And then there's an opening into some higher level of self-awareness. And it could relate to any number of things in your life or in your soul journey. It can relate to those inner child wounds. It can relate to shadow stuff. It can relate to karma. It can relate to, understanding more about your love languages or your attachment style or what you're working through with your parents. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I feel like there's some kind of insight here that reveals the path forward, that reveals a new direction. And it's by this Venus going slow to retrograde that you get it. And then she's in retrograde and begins to do that internal review work, or even internal processing and understanding about, I am worth more. And part of the Venus journey is in constantly evolving and growing that sense of self-love, self-worth, self-value. And I feel like there's something here that could validate you're worth more than what you previously thought or that you believed was possible in relationships, in connections. I mean, this is an elevation energy. And what's interesting is that it begins here in July, but then Venus retrogrades, as we know, back to 12 degrees of Leo until September 4th, where she stations direct. And it's when she stations direct and then gets to 24, 25 degrees of Leo, the beginning of October. I'm going to say the first 5 days of October is where she then makes another trine to that North Node in Aries. And there's a sense of, I want this. I'm ready. There's determination. There's even a passionate elevation of self-love and self-worth. So something begins in July that really connects and takes off in October. And so this Venus retrograde is going to help us with what we are elevating and learning. I feel it as that recalibration in the heart. And I also feel it as strengthening what love means to you, strengthening what you can create and experience in connections with others. And that could also be reinforcing what relationships are in your life that are important, that are worthwhile. And some people freak out like, oh, Venus retrograde means everyone's going to break up. No, that never happens. In fact, there isn't something that would create that for everyone. Rather, it's very personal. And this is where you take responsibility for your energy and know that, okay, this Venus retrograde is where I'm reviewing, reconsidering, reflecting on what is working and what's not working in these Venus and Leo areas of my life. Also, there is an understanding of, I don't have to give my power away to be loved. I don't have to diminish who I am to be seen or recognized. I don't have to give up what is truly me in order to be seen, because this Leo energy can wear a mask. It's like, I'll do anything for attention or for love. This is what I was taught love was, or this is what I taught I needed to do to be seen, to be recognized by my parents, or to be accepted by my peer group. This is where you come back into yourself and determine, is that really true still? Or have you unconsciously been giving away your creation, your power, your light in exchange for what you thought love was? I feel like there's going to be upgrades in the definition of love. I feel like there's going to be an understanding of what it means to have passionate, loving connections with people that also honor your power, honor your strength, honor your individuality as well. I also want to note that Venus stationing retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo was the August 2017 total solar eclipse point. And that was the total solar eclipse that went across the United States, starting in Portland, all the way over to South Carolina. That was a big deal, total solar eclipse. So if it resonates with you, the Venus retrograde in Leo bringing you back to August 2017, the changes you've made since then, how you've grown, how your needs have shifted and evolved, what you've come to understand about who you are. And I also feel like there's an opportunity here to reignite a creative spark, reignite what excites you and what gives you a sense of, yes, I want that. I'm going to go for that. I want to create that. So overall, this Venus retrograde in Leo that begins in July is going to bring you back into more of yourself and also ask you to honor that, really honor what is true for you and what you cannot give away for the sake of recognition or being seen or being accepted. Now, as I mentioned, the nodes of fate change sign this month, and we will see that occur the middle of July. So about July 13th to July 17th, and there's going to be a shift in direction. And that north node moving into Aries is faster moving, is more focused on what is happening in your immediate environment and what is uniquely you. I feel like it begins speaking to our aura in a whole new way and wants us to look at the energy in the root chakra. And the Aries energy is the beginning of the zodiac. And there's something here that you could feel is beginning for you on a whole new level, beginning for you based on what you have cleared, cleansed, and purged in the root chakra. The root chakra is very primal. It's fight or flight. It can be very much about, I have to do this now or it's not going to happen. There can be sometimes that impatience, anger, frustration when things don't happen quickly. But this Aries energy wants you to feel alive in your human body, wants you to feel alive and connected to the cosmos, to your soul, to the energy that you're embodying in this lifetime. And there could be some things coming through for you, especially the middle of July, that are whole new passions, new adventures, new chapters, new goals. The Aries energy opens up new expressions, new potentials and possibilities. And you could feel yourself being called in a new direction. You could feel like something is coming through this month that's showing you a new possibility, a new manifestation. This can also feel like you're ready to go for it, whatever it is for you, because Aries is a risk taker. Aries is a maverick. Aries will go out there and get things moving and get things going. So that could be something that you feel coming through. It's also going to depend, of course, if you have any planets or points in Aries, in which case you'll feel this energy more strongly and more personally. So the nodes changing signs is another energy signature of July. And I did do a separate podcast episode for you back on June 12th about this topic if you want to go back and listen to that again. Now, as the nodes change signs into Aries and Libra, they are going to be in a tight square to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn still. And this is an energy that started when we had the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. It continues into November, and it's applying a pressure of evolution, of growth, but it's uncomfortable. It can feel like there's a power struggle. It could feel like there's a lot here that you just want to move away from, you want to be done with. But there is something significant about how the world is changing into November as well. And this could be that there's more that is purged. I mean, this is deep karma ending. This is a lot closing out and being complete. But it happens through some struggle and strife. It happens in a way that isn't necessarily a feel-good experience. So just know that we're still in the tightness of this Pluto squaring the nodes of fate. And you could also have a sense of not knowing what to trust for yourself, not knowing what to choose or what to do, because that Pluto in Capricorn is holding the frequency of the long term, whereas the North Node in Aries is the short term and what's in front of you right now. And it can be more immature, whereas Pluto in Capricorn is about maturity and responsibility. So you could be struggling with something in your life that you don't know what to do with. You don't know And by know, I mean mentally. You don't mentally know what to choose or where to go. But I feel like this is a big soul correction, soul redirection, where that Pluto and Capricorn is holding the energy signature of what you're mastering. And in order to master something with this energy, there has to be a big cycle completing. There needs to be closing out and endings that maybe you choose, maybe you don't. So there is a karmic turning point here potentially. There's something where you could feel that you don't want to repeat a pattern or repeat a cycle, but that could be the struggle. Because I'm feeling like cords attached. I'm feeling like there's things that have to be taken care of. And that's part of the struggle of this is like, well, I've got to be very mature about this. I need to understand the ramifications and how this is going to affect more than me, how it will affect others. I feel like this Pluto squaring the North Node and South Node in July is going to make some things really evident to you that maybe you take a step forward and then have to pull back. I'm getting this interesting image of opening a door, stepping outside, and then realizing this isn't where I want to go. This isn't what I want to do. And then it kind of brings up more that needs to change or evolve. This is not a simple energy. This is not simple. And so if you have planets or points at 28 and 29 degrees of the cardinal signs being Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, then this month is really bringing up some powerful choice points. And what I'm feeling is choose your soul. Choose your soul, don't choose the fear. And it's almost like it could be easy to choose the fear because it feels like a comfort zone or safety. It feels like it's at least known. It's at least familiar. But this is meant to move you into something new or different that your soul is directing you towards. So I guess that's what it feels like is like July wants you to really tune into the truth of who you are, the truth of what you need, the truth of your heart at this time, and to choose your soul, because I'm feeling a blindfold. Like, okay, if I choose my soul, I don't know what happens. And that could bring up something fearful too. It's almost like, well, at least if I choose this, I know what it is. It's a known entity. It's clear. I got it. But if I choose this, I don't know where it's going. I don't know what it's about. But the energy is helping you close out some unconscious patterns and behaviors that you can't always see when you're in it. And I'm also feeling that the higher self's intuitive wisdom is showing up and supporting whatever that choice is. And I'm seeing that through this Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces retrograde, which is going to be in close connection with Pluto as well. So Pluto and Neptune are only 1 and 2 degrees apart, July and into August. This means that our intuition can be ramped up and we can just feel like I have to go this direction, or I have to say this, or have to do this. And it's outside of what the mind understands. I'm just feeling like there's this strong soul growth push this month into a new chapter, a next step, the unknown, if you will, but that's where the beautiful evolution is. That's where it's like you could feel like you're taking a chance, you're taking a risk. It's like, oh my gosh, this makes me so uncomfortable. Because Pluto energy will bring up our angst, will bring up our shadow, our fears. It'll bring up all the yucky gucky stuff that can take over the mind or can create more anxiety or more fear, more doubts, etc. But there's something about this month where the energy is saying, go higher. Go higher in your soul's frequency. In fact, there's something maybe even playful about choose what is a little bit terrifying, but choose it with the lightness, a playfulness. Like choose it because there's something here that is going to lead you forward And maybe, just maybe, it will be fun and a wild adventure and something beautiful to just experience and to move through, that is also validating your own manifestation abilities. So there's very interesting energies this month, not gonna lie. And we will keep talking about it on my Wednesday podcast as we move through July. We move through these energies and understand more of how this is a turning point month. We're turning into some new chapters and new areas that we're ready for. And it's also been a few months since we had the eclipses. And in July, we also have some checking in points with those eclipses where we look at, okay, what have I grown from? What has transpired? What has come up for me since the eclipses in April, May? And it's revealing as well that it's right on time to be complete with some things in your experience or in your energy. I mean, I'm feeling so strongly like we're getting rid of some really big layers that we don't have to carry anymore. We don't have to hold it up. We don't have to force ourselves even to continue on a path or direction out of obligation, out of a sense of, oh, I thought it would be this. I mean, I feel this energy about coming back to your core needs, your core self, and what is speaking to you, what is alive in you, what is energetically calling to you, that sometimes you can only hear when you get quiet, when you go inside, when you become more internally focused. And there could be some messages that have been waiting for you for a while there. This is interesting. I'm seeing a little note on a dish, like on top of a table, and it's just sitting there. Just a little note sitting there. And it's easy to walk by, not look at it, not give it a second thought, not pick it up. But there's something, some message, some understanding that could come through in July that opens you up with clarity to what matters next. And of course, there's countless ways that can show up. But I feel like July has softer messages for us, and they are messages that inspire our life force, inspire our trust in the universe as well. Now, one more thing before I close this episode is that we do have a Cancer new moon at 25 degrees on July 17th, and it opposes Pluto in Capricorn retrograde, and it does create a square to both the North Node and South Node. So this Cancer new moon has a cardinal grand cross that is about creation and initiation of next steps, where you want to go next in your life, what you're ready to move on, and also perhaps feeling like there's a lot to choose. So what is correct or what is best? And I think with this Cancer new moon, it goes back to those softer whispers. It goes back to what you're intuitively feeling, because the Cancer new moon at 25 degrees, even though it opposes Pluto, it does trine that Neptune and Pisces, which is giving you the intuitive messages and understanding. So in July, it's a time to look for what you're wanting to open up to next. Also giving yourself that quiet time to reflect on some of the bigger areas of our lives, the bigger things that we can overlook or not even focus on, but there's messages there. There's something about July that you're going to understand in a whole new way, and that's what's also going to propel you forward. So we'll keep discussing in my Wednesday podcast episode, and I hope that it supports you in what you're experiencing, feeling, and moving through at this time, especially since we have now entered into the second half of 2023. Those of you who are in my Soul Growth Astrology program, you might want to log in at this time, check in on how the energies are showing up for you in your chart. And for those who are not in this program yet, it is 50% off now, so you can catch up with the energies of 2023. And so you can get the Soul Growth Astrology program for 50% off with coupon code 2023, and you can review what has happened for you since Saturn entered Pisces, Jupiter entered Taurus. We had the first 2 eclipses of the year. Then you will find deep dive information on this Venus retrograde in Leo, as well as the remaining Mercury retrogrades of the year and the upcoming eclipses in October. So a great time to check in on the energies and see what is transpiring for you in your natal astrology chart. As always, thank you so much for joining me. You can find all of my current programs and offerings at mollymccord.online. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And on YouTube, be sure to check out my playlists. Tons of videos, tons of astrology topics for you to dive into and look at in your own chart. And I hope these are great free resources to continue to expand your astrological knowledge. I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday for another podcast episode. Thank you for joining me. Wishing you a beautiful journey through July, and we will keep discussing these energies as we move through them. Take good care, and I'll see you back here soon.